All right, constructing a project involves three different parties, you might say. The owner owns the land and wants the project built. The owner then hires an engineer who generally does the surveying, the design work, and also does the inspection on the project to make sure it's done properly. The contractor wins the bid for the job, and actually builds the project. So those are the three groups that are involved in construction. Construction often involves what's called grade staking. Okay, now grade stakes are stakes that tell set by the engineer, the surveyor for the engineer, that tells the contractor where to put things. So generally there's what's called a hub put in the ground, which is a 2x2 stake. That's the reference point. Next to that is put a lath, which is a long, thin piece of wood that kind of looks like a sword. On the lath is written a message that tells the contractor how to get from the hub to whatever it is they're building. In Oregon here, we put the offset distance on the top with a circle around it. So an 8 with a circle means start at the hub and go 8 feet over horizontally. Then there's a C or an F on the stake. Now C means cut, and that means go down. You can also use F, which means fill, and that means go up. So here's a C, 9.21. What that means is after you go over 8 feet, go down 9.21 feet from the hub. So you're going to be here, you're going to go down 9.21 feet, and you're going to end up right there. So that's 8 feet over and 9.21 feet down from the hub. And then you tell them where you're going. So this is to the invert elevation, i.e. of SS, which would be a sanitary sewer. So you're telling the contractor where to put the sewer in relation to the hub. So on a job, you'll set these hubs, offset a certain distance from the utility, then put the lath next to the hub that tells the contractor how to get from the hub to whatever it is that's being built. All right, now let's say we're going to work on a site here. We would just start with this site. I've got these sketches in the book currently on page 55. That's where they're at. So we start off with a site that has, trees and things on it. The first thing that you would do would be to clear and grub the site, okay? So we're going to put a road here. We have the proposed road center line marked there. We're going to first clear and grub the site. That means remove the organics and the plants. So you're going to get out there, you're going to remove the plants, and then also scrape away or take away the organic soil, the topsoil that has organic material in it, compost basically. That's not good construction material, so you want to remove that. Okay, so that's done with bulldozers and scrapers and things like that. So they're moving that top layer of soil off and the vegetation. Okay. Now after that's done, you scrape out the road bed. So you're going to figure out how much fill you need below the top of the road. You're going to scrape out the existing soil to that depth. The existing soil usually isn't good enough to make a road out of. It's usually not strong enough. So you take it out. Okay, so here's a scraper running around a site that's kind of like got a blade on the bottom and a hopper. It's kind of like a wood plane, and it just scrapes away at the soil. And you're going to take that road bed you're going to build and just scrape it out. Okay, so you want to excavate the road bed. Okay, now you want to go in there and cut trenches that go deeper yet for any pipelines you're going to put in. These are narrow trenches, maybe 2 or 3 feet wide, so you're going to use a backhoe for that with a bucket to dig these out. You're going to dig them a little bit extra deep, okay, and you're going to excavate those. You're going to put this, what are called the spoils, probably in a dump truck and take them away. You're going to end up with a trench something like that. We'll come back to this later in the class, but that big chunk of soil just sloughed off of there. That's a danger of being in trenches, is you can have cave-ins, and that's something to be very aware of. We'll touch on that later in the class. All right, so now you've dug this trench. Now what you do next is you put, usually it's a 3/4 inch minus crushed gravel in there with some vines and things in it. and you bed the pipe. You kind of shape that so that the pipe can fit in there. Then you place the pipe and lay it in there, and then you'll fill that trench back up with good quality fill. Normally you do that in lifts, maybe 6 inches at a time, that can be compacted as you go to get good strong compaction in that pipe trench. Okay, so there's some trench backfill there. You can see that gray color as opposed to the reddish color of the existing soil. So that's trench backfill. There's some fill there as well. Some fill laid out there and ready to go. And once that's put in there, you see a fellow there with a trench compactor that will vibrate and compact that. You'll get that fill to the right moisture level and then compact it and make it just as strong and compacted as you can, because if you don't, over the years it will compact itself, and then you'll end up with kind of gaps in the soil where it's kind of fallen down and compacted itself, and that can lead to problems for the pavement and things above it. Okay, so they're going to compact the trench backfill there, and there you see a trench that's been backfilled. You see again that gray fill. All right, now once you've got that, you want to put the road bed in. Now the first thing that goes in there is filter fabric, and then you put rock above that. So good, clean, well-graded rock. If you keep putting in a whole lot of fill, you might start with pretty large rocks, 3-inch minus. Minus means less than. So, and then, but when you get close to the pavement, you want to go to a finer sort of rock that you can grade and shape properly. That might be 3/4 inch minus. Okay, I've worked in places where it gets quite cold, where they use a lot of fill on account of that. They'll start with 3-inch minus and work their way up to 3/4 inch minus. They might put 3 feet of fill below a road to get a good solid foundation there. Here in Western Oregon, we really don't have the temperature problems like they do in other places. So they'll use maybe, I don't know, for residential roads, maybe 9 or 12 inches of fill. So when they do that, they commonly just use all 3/4 inch minus for the whole bit of it, the whole 9 or 12 inches. All right, so there you see that filter fabric down below over here, and then they're bringing in that fill up above. You can see they've got that wetted down a little bit so they can compact it. They'll run a vibrating roller over that to compact it properly, hopefully in 6-inch lifts to get good compaction on that soil. All right, they'll put the curb in next. Now that has to be put in just in the right spot, so, or just at the right grade, I guess I should say. So they'll have grade stakes probably every 25 feet on that, and then plywood formwork to build that curb. You really want to get that grade precisely controlled so the water that gets in the gutter drains to the proper location. So that's kind of important to do that. So there's the curb that's being installed. Okay, now here they're doing a curb return. They're coming around an intersection corner there. They're rounding that out. They're going to use a curb machine to lay that. So they've got a guide made out of flexible PVC pipe that they're running around there to do that with. Okay. All right, now once you've got that, you'll bring in 3/4 inch minus, very good quality leveling course. This is rock that you want to be able to really shape so it fits just exactly below the asphalt or concrete or whatever it is you're putting in there, just very precisely. You want to be able to compact this really well too. Okay, so you get that good quality rock in there, and then you're ready to place the asphalt, usually in 2-inch lifts. Now the asphalt, the first lift can be a little coarser. The second lift though has the driving surface on it, so that's done with high quality asphalt. You, normally speaking, crown the top of the road, because what you want is for the water, when it rains, to drain off of that and get into the gutter. Once it's in the gutter, if you've graded that gutter properly, it'll go where it needs to go, so you can dispose of the water that falls on the road. Okay, so they've got the curb in there. It looks like they're getting that first course of asphalt in there, and then here comes the second course. There's an asphalt machine. Pretty tough, hot work there to be doing in the summer, but so they're getting that top layer of asphalt on there. All right, so that's the basic process for building a road.